Our parents separated, and we went to an apartment. And this was just before summer's about to start. I'm 13, and I'm hanging with a girl who lives like a block over. And we're walking one day looking for cigarette butts, and we're smoking like a cigarette butt. And girl comes up to us, and she's a few years older. She's 3 or 4 years older, and she says, "Do you guys have a cigarette?" And we're like, "No." She's like, "Well, I have some at my house. I live with my mom and my brother, and I no one's home right now." And we're like, "Hell yeah, let's go." It was hot outside. We're just bored. And that's how we met this girl. And we would go over and hang out, and her mom was never there ever. And she had a younger brother, and we saw him occasionally, but he always like was in the room if we saw him. And this
Hello?
girl,
Oh, Dylan's with us now.
did you get kicked out and come back?
Getting kicked out. I don't know why. Like every couple minutes, I just get kicked out.
Put your phone on mobile data.
Anyway, tell the story.
Okay, I am. Okay, so over the summer we're hanging out with this girl the whole time, and she always had alcohol. We were drinking, then we were smoking weed with her, and then she was giving us other drugs.
Meth.
Methamphetamines, yeah. We'd never had that before, but we ended up with her.
Right.
So then it just always seemed like every time we went over there, she had guys that would come over, and she would sleep with these guys, and we could totally hear her. There was no TV. There was nothing there. It was just us. And when we hung out with her, I always thought it was kind of odd that, well, I mean, I didn't know if their parents were split or whatever because I was going through my thing, but they didn't have much of anything. There was like no furniture. Her mom was never there, like a couch. There was no TV. In her room, there was like a mattress on the floor for the bed, but she had designer clothes. She had designer bags. She had like designer makeup. And I didn't know, I didn't put too much thought into it, but I was like, wow, she has a lot of nice things, but they don't have any furniture and stuff.
Right.
And then towards the end of the summer, right as school was starting, she, like on a Friday, she's all, "Hey, she called me and she said, do you guys want to go to a party tonight in LA? And we're like, I said, yeah, my mom wasn't home. So, and my friend, my other friend who always went with me when we went to her house, usually, and she was dating her older brother, in addition to seeing all these guys, right in front of everybody. She didn't even care that they were in the other room. But, I went to her house and she was home, and we went to this girl's house, right? And she's letting us wear her clothes, and she's doing our hair, and she's doing our makeup, and she's giving us drugs, and she's giving us meth, And we spent the next few hours getting ready. And I remember too, she was trying to put this one dress on me, and I really wanted to try this other dress on that was in the closet. And she let me wear it. And then she was kind of surprised. She acted surprised that it looked as good. She didn't expect it to look good, and it did. And so she let me wear it, and I felt amazing. So we're all dressed up. We're ready to go. Her phone rings, and a girl outside in not a super fancy car, but a really nice convertible driving. And there was another girl our age, like 13-ish, in the car that we didn't know. And so we're just laughing, having a great time. Kelly's up front with this other girl, and all the three of us are in the back seat, and we're talking to this girl, and we're just girls having a good time. And then we see signs. We're like, LA, oh my gosh, we're like starstruck and everything. And we don't really pay a lot of attention, but we did notice when we started going away from the city, and we were going like up it seemed like a big, hill or mountain or whatever. And the houses were few and far between. And we get to this house that has a gate at the bottom of the driveway, and there's someone there, and they do something, and the gate opens, and we go up. We drive all the way up to this house, and there's no like valet or anything like that. But there is like everyone's just parking wherever and walking in. People are walking in, people are walking out, and they're parking wherever. And it is the biggest house like we have ever seen. Like this house, it doesn't even look like a home that people live in. It just looks like a museum or like furniture and stuff. It's just we're just like, wow, and so these girls, they lead us into the party, and then we're talking and we sort of break off a little, but I, being raised by our dad, um paid attention to some things because in my young mind, my focus was stay with people I know so I don't get stuck up here and I have to call my parents and get killed, right? So I just want to make sure I knew where people were so I wouldn't be stuck without a ride. And at this party, there were all different kinds of people. There were girls, some girls like our age, but we felt like we looked like we were 20 years old, 25 years old, just mingling with these people. And there are drugs everywhere, and there are drinks everywhere, and everybody is just having a good time. Some rooms are darker, some rooms are lighter, some rooms are like disco ball, not on the ceiling, but like the table one. There was just stuff going on. So when I'm coming into the party, and I'm kind of on my own, but sort of staying around where I knew people were that I knew. There was this super handsome guy. The first one I seen, this super cute guy, and you had to have been like 18 or 19 giving drinks to girls. And I'm noticing that he would come back and give drinks and talk sweetly to girls, and I thought to myself, don't drink that drink. So I got away from there because I didn't know he was so cute. I don't know if I could say no to a drink from him. And then I was talking to girls throughout the girl party. They're handing me drinks. I'm like dumping it in over here and dumping it over there. But I do remember finding the kitchen, which looks like a freaking, restaurant kitchen where alcohol was, where the drinks were. And I took shots because I knew it wasn't a drink that somebody made. But I remember I was also really thirsty and there was nothing there but alcohol. There was no food there. It was just alcohol. And I remember drinking water from the tap because there was no water. And I also drank some tequila mixer without the tequila in it because I was really thirsty. I just didn't want to drink alcohol. And then I left the kitchen and I went upstairs. And when I went upstairs, I saw there was I called him the Hill Fairy, okay? And I call him that because back in the 90s, they had raves and club kids and stuff like that. And he's totally stuck out because no one was dressed like that. And he was super bright lime green, just sort of dancing around, very flamboyant, just putting something in people's mouths, which I think was a pill. And I thought to myself, I don't want that either. So I ducked in a bathroom. And I waited what I felt was long enough that he was probably gone. And then one of the girls who was with us, actually the driver, came and got me and said, hey, I want to show you this balcony, right? Oh. And so I go and I look with her and she gives me some more drugs. And so I think they were just keeping us on drugs. We were just, I don't know at that point where anyone else was. And at that point, I'm just trying to really explore this huge house. It's just blowing my mind. And so I go where there are some other people I see hanging out. And I go in a room and I see somebody that you just can't mistake who she is, right? Other people, if there were celebrities there and other people, I may not know because our parents really kept us sheltered on movies and things like that. So I wouldn't know, maybe, maybe not. But her, you could not mistake her if you saw her. And she was the daughter of Ed Bundy in the Married with Children show. Oh. Okay.
Christina.
Yes.
Applegate.
Yeah. And so you can't mistake her. And she is just hanging out with some people. They look kind of tired. And in this room, people are doing drugs with needles. Okay.
Jeez.
And I see her use a needle between her toes. Oh. But I'm staying away from that, what's going on, but I'm starstruck and I'm just looking at her and talking to people in the room. Okay. But I'm oh my God, look at that. Look who's there. And, but then I had been in there for almost 2 hours and I realized, I need to go find the people I'm with. Oh my God, what if my ride left, And so I went and I found the girl that I know that I actually came up with, and we kind of stuck together. And then we found Kelly, and then eventually we left. But when we left, the third girl that was in the car she was not in the car with us, you know. But in my young mind, I'm thinking like, oh, maybe she knew somebody, maybe she left early, you know what I mean? Maybe she didn't leave. But our driver left, the girl we were with, who brought us, and then they brought us home. We went home, we slept it off. But now that, you know, these days with the whole Hollywood parties and things like that, and young girls and trafficking and stuff, I couldn't help but think, gosh, you know, how close did we get in a situation? And the girl I went up with, I don't know if anything happened to her, but something might have, because her whole attitude changed after that. And so I still knew that girl. We still hung out for a little while, but then we moved. Me and my mom moved across town, and we kind of lost contact, and we changed our phone number, and that was the last I knew of her. But it was really, some things just, you know, you have a sixth sense, or kind of a sense when something's kind of off. Something seemed off about the apartment. Something seemed off about how things were. But when I was so young, I didn't really just care about what my instincts were telling me. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Wow. That's crazy. So having seen that so young, you had an insight to, I think, what's true Hollywood.
Yeah.
More earlier than most other people, probably. I wonder if you were surprised when you heard all these other type of stories coming out with the Diddy stuff, you know, all these years later.
Yeah. Oh, yes, most definitely. And I just was shocked that, and we were really sheltered growing up. We grew up Baptist, like Southern Baptist family, and so we weren't allowed to do or see anything. So potentially there probably were other people I could have recognized should I have known who they were.
Right.
I was in another situation that was in Hollywood type, where I went with a couple friends who knew somebody else who said, let's go to Rosarito. We've done it before with these Mexican dudes. And we went to Rosarito in Mexico. I don't even know these people. And it's a really nice house. And it's like off a cliff. And you could walk down these steps. And the beach was all rocks. There was no sand. It was just big round rocks. And the whole night I felt weird. And I was just trying to stay away from the guys and the owner of the house. And everyone, there was no music, no TV, nothing. It's just everyone sort of standing around fires, drinking. There's about 8 or 9 of us. And then the guy took us to breakfast in the morning and then took us back across the border. But like less than a week later, just under a week later, just the guy and the owner and the guy he was with came to where I lived and was banging on my door trying to get me to go again. And I was like, no way, I'm not going.
Wow.
And I was friends, I wasn't with them or anybody. I'm like, I'm not going.
Oh,
So I just was like, geez, you know?
good thing you trust your instincts.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
Even while
Seriously,
doing,
we were raised like,
even
my
while
dad
doing
was a
some drugs and
survivalist
drinking.
before it was popular.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's good. You know, it's you show up to those situations. A lot of kids, I feel like, would just take whatever they're given. Unfortunately, which is how they start to, you know, really screw your life up. And also, if you're in Hollywood, they gain control over you.
Yeah.
Which is
Well,
what
that's the thing.
seems
You
to
go
be
to a
going on.
party and you see a celebrity and you're like, wow, this is kind of cool.
Yeah, yeah. I'll do it too.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, and
crazy.
you like want to maybe even go back or try and end up disappearing forever, you
Oh
know?
my God.
It unfortunately happens all the time.
Yeah.
It happens all. It's alarming. You know, talking about when you're talking about the guys coming to your house and banging the door, you know, that happens. And it reminded me of I heard a few interviews of women who've been trafficked over the border, the southern border, and like their moms leave their photos on the bridge. And there's just bridges down there, like in Tijuana, that are just covered in the images of these women, these young girls. You know, a lot of them are actually young girls who are taken and are never seen of again. And then you hear stories on this side, these girls, you know, in situations like yours, they go to a party and they think it's, you know, it's all cool, and then they're just never, they're gone.
Yeah.
And then, you know, I heard recently about one young girl who was just held captive in a skyscraper in New York City for years.
Oh my God.
Yeah, just being like a sex slave to
Awful.
random people. And then on top of that, you know, not to make it worse, but this is just unfortunately a reality. When I was in New York, I remember reading an article about a judge who was selling children into basically like a trafficking ring. He would send them to juvie, and the juvie was part of a trafficking organization.
Oh,
He got in trouble.
Oh.
Like, you can probably find the article. I forgot how long ago that was, but they got in trouble, and it was crazy. And I don't think that's the only judge that does those things.
Oh, you're probably 100% right.
It's crazy.
Oh my God.
Wow. Well, that's
And they all keep it quiet. Like he goes down and says nothing to keep it going, you know?
of course. Yep.
Like he got busted and that's how it goes for him.
Well, Dylan's here too. Did Dylan have
No,
anything to
he's,
add? Dylan
yeah,
got
he
kicked out?
got- yeah.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
well, thank you for sharing your story with us, and I'm glad you're here to tell it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Of course, and I appreciate your time. Thanks for having us.
Thank you. Bye. Man, that's scary.
That is my second greatest fear. We talk about all my great fears on this show.
Good. This is
Awful.
exposure therapy now.
Yeah.
Before we go, I figured I was going to tell the story that I told before we went live, and you tell yours after about where I was for the Malaysian flight.
Oh.
For those who watched the culture with me and Ashton, you probably heard it then, but I'll say it again. When the Malaysian flight went missing earlier, before I knew the news, before it broke, I was living in Brooklyn, and my wife and I were near what they called Chinatown. It was a smaller version of the Chinatown in Manhattan. We were in Brooklyn. And on this day, we were like, we're going to go check out this Malaysian food restaurant that we never ate at before. And we just walked in, and then the news broke, and then it was on the TV, and I'm just watching Malaysian flight missing while eating Malaysian food for the first time.
That
It
is
was
so
very
random.
bizarre. Very, very bizarre. I'll never forget it. But then I told you that story.
Oh, yeah.
And then,
Well, I was telling you how, like, so for 9/11, I was in high school, and it was like Spirit Week, and this particular day was like dress-alike day, and there were two guys dressed as the Twin Towers.
that's crazy.
Like, and then hours later, it happened.
That's
which is
crazy.
and I'm in New York too.
well,
So
in
it's
New
like-
York.
What?
That's crazy. It's
Yeah.
crazy, like, to imagine being dressed like the Twin Towers
Oh, I know.
on that day.
On that, like, what are the like who?
It's like a script.
Yeah.
It's like, it's
Well, who's
been
eating
scripted.
Malaysian food?
I don't know whose is weirder, honestly. I feel like yours is weirder. Well, that was wild. It was awesome. I want to thank Ashton for
Yes.
showing up, and thank you to our callers. And
Oh, a lot of people are in the chat are asking about how to call in. Give us
cool.
the information on that
yeah,
so they know.
if you guys want to call in, hit me up. It's Shane Cashman at scanner.com, SCNR.com. So my name at scanner.com. Just give me like a short little synopsis of what you want to talk about, and we'll bring you on. Alex and I will talk to you throughout the week and figure out one's best. And that's pretty much it. You'll need Discord to call in, and we'll go from there. So that is it. I've been fielding lots of people reaching out, which has been awesome. So thank you for that. And I'm excited for who we got next week. And if anyone has any special Halloween stories, we'd love to hear those.
Yeah.
Since it is Halloween season. Yeah. Other than that, thank you guys.
Great.
You know where to find us. Where can they find you?
Oh yeah.
You don't get out of here that quick.
I am Alex Ayala on X. I don't even know anymore.
You never use it. She's so
Never use it.
anti-Elon.
I started to try, and I was like, "This is gay."
Well, I use it too much. And you know where to find me at Shane Cashman. And hit me up, please, with your stories, and we'll have them. Until next time, we'll see ya.